We've been talking about rights, legal rights, civil rights, and most powerfully, human rights, and asking if there's a conception of human rights anywhere in Roman law, but in particular in the writings of the jurist Ulpian. And it's an important question because the idea of human rights or natural rights, rights that people have simply by virtue of their being human, have a particular, even a peculiar force in our ways of thinking about justice. And it will clarify our thinking about rights if we identify what we mean by saying that rights have a particular kind of force. And so I would identify 4 qualities of human rights claims, 4 particular qualities that attend our use of human rights as a kind of argument about justice. First, human rights are lodged in the individual rather than the community. And in fact, human rights are deeply individualistic in that they make a claim for the rights of an individual, even when there may be communal benefits, there may be communal purposes in view that cannot be overridden because of an individual's claim to a certain kind of right. 2, rights, human rights, are inherently universal. That is, that human rights don't derive simply from law, from a positive system of rules that a society has decided to enforce. They don't derive simply from citizenship, so they're more than civil rights. They derive simply from one's humanity, and therefore they are universal. Everyone has them. You can't say that some people have them and some people don't. By their very nature, human rights are a universalist claim. Third, a peculiar feature of human rights is that they insist that we treat human beings as an end, but never as a means. And so, in other words, rights, in the way that they're often used in our political language, are inherently non-utilitarian. In other words, rights are a kind of claim that don't rely on outcomes or consequences or ultimate goods, but rather are vested in an equation of justice that looks only at the right of the individual that cannot be trampled on in order to accomplish some other end. So rights are a kind of claim that every human individual should be treated as an ends and not as a means, not as an instrument to achieve some other kind of good. And finally, and I think most importantly, human rights are grounded in a belief in human dignity. Now, dignitas is a Latin word, and we've seen it's important for someone like Cicero, who says that humans have different levels of dignity. But a true argument for human rights argues that all humans have dignity, that they have worth, that they can, as an individual human, make powerful claims for their own worth. And so rights, human rights claims in particular, are grounded in a concept that sees the human being as an individual with a kind of profound dignity. And so it's this particular combination of qualities that give rights their very powerful force in our conversations about justice. They're lodged in an individual, they are universal, so one derives them simply from virtue of being human being. They insist that the individual be treated as an ends and never as a mean to some other political end, and they place great dignity in the individual's worth.